Oh, would you look at that shooter? We got MC Retard, also known as Piano, playing as the Mech Boy today, and he's going to be facing up against the other ranged teleporting hero, the Warp Spider Exarch, played by GuruSkippy. Fun matchup. A lot of people die very quickly in this matchup due to all the ranged firefights that we're no doubt going to see. One thing before I get on with the cast, check out the description below if you play Dawn of War 2 and you enjoy team games, specifically 3v3, because there's actually going to be, early on in July, a 3v3 tournament for Dawn of War 2. And that's huge because we never get 3v3 tournaments. So please support it so we actually get more competitive team games and it's not just 1v1 all the time. And try and get a team formed. There's a lot of guys even signing up there right now who don't even have a team already, who are, you know, they just want to find a team. But I'm giving you guys notice, you've got like a bit over 2 weeks to find a team and practice. Get involved, it'll be a fun time. Anyway, for now, we got a cast to do, and the Mech Boy is doing what he does really well, teleporting and harassing the very squishy Eldar units, but is forced off eventually. He really bit off a bit more than he can chew there. Compared to the Warp Spider Exarch, the Mech Boy by default, very, very weak against melee. I mean, the Warp Spider's not amazing, but he actually does decent melee damage. He actually does more melee damage by default than he does range damage. Can you believe that? Yes, a real hybrid hero. Mech Boy, you don't want to see him in a fist fight. Just ask his war boss. I mean, it doesn't go down very well. But a very aggressive push here from GuruSkippy, so we're seeing... Yeah, Piano's only noted this side, he hasn't noted the other side. I don't know if Guru's even seen that. He must have, because otherwise you wouldn't commit so hard to taking down the power node. Like, he lost a Banshee for that, and he's obviously... There's an opportunity cost, right? Him having all of his forces here trying to gem bash means he hasn't stopped these sluggers, and now the sluggers are getting into melee, they're forcing off Guardians. Bit of a dubious position here for these sluggers, you see. I'd be wary if I was Piano, because what if those Guardians upgraded to a grenade right there? Now, it's actually worked out for him because Guru was a little bit slow to move the Guardians away, but man, I just think if the Guardians like moved over this direction before the shooters got over here, while the sluggers were chasing, they could have been forced off by the pew pew and then had to retreat through a potential grenade, and that would be a wipe. And then, you know, it's those instances where people say, oh my god, retreat nade's so OP. But no, you should have seen that coming. But anyway, it didn't happen. In fact, it went pretty well for Piano. He lost a couple of sluggers, but he killed way more Guardians. I think he got like 3 Guardians or something over there. Maybe one off the other one. He had the Banshee on the power node to kill, and then he killed the Warp Spider Exarch as well, so... Man, huge commitment from GuruSkippy right now. We're actually seeing a bit of a suppression war here, Looters versus Shuriken, but the problem is the Shuriken had to switch its fire from the Looters to the Shooters because they split up over here, and then of course the Looters became unsuppressed. The Shuriken got suppressed. So what can you do? It seems the Looters have ensured that the power is going to remain relatively safe from Piano. Wow. Good job Guru was looking there, actually. Because there is stuff happening on this side of the map. Slugger Boy's over here. Ooh, I think I've got Soundbook. Wow, I've not had this in a long time. Cool, cool, cool. Alright, we'll reset. We'll reset. Okay, take 2. I think we were roughly around here. The Mech Boy just threw his mines out. The Dire Avengers, very skillfully from Guru, seen it and moved away, and, well, it looks like Piano was the one who dropped his micro, because he left his sluggers to get shot by Guardians there, so they are in a bad way now. However, on the plus side, Piano actually has... Oh wow, check that out! Guru actually using his grenade from the battle equipment to wipe out the mines, and then moving his shuriken into position where he's seen that the mines were. Very nice play here. What I was going to say, it's not too bad of a position for Piano, in spite of the fact he's losing on map control and bleeding a bit more now, because he has the free gens here, and he's even kept his power node up, even though it's super low. Guru, on the other hand, is only just building his first generator. Nice flank there with the shooters, but the problem now is there's not a lot defending the power farm, actually. I think Guru's not a fool, though. He knows there's looters somewhere around here. Yeah, and unfortunately, with them flanking from this direction, a bit risky to not move them or re-rotate them, but Piano does re-rotate them. Wow. Beautiful micro from Guru there to slide out of the arc of fire, and then of course the Water Spider was coming in anyway, so even if they got caught, they could just hide behind the green cover while the Water Spider moves in and melees the looter. So it is what it is. The mech boy is going to come over and try and do a bit of disruption. What's happening here? Oh, it looks like the shooters... Well, they've rotated back down anyway. I wasn't sure if they got caught by the shuriken, but appears not. So a couple of Banshees do go down thanks to all the shooter fire and potentially some mines in retreat. However, both players have managed to protect their gen farm using their setup teams, and that is one of the powers of the setup team. Now Guru now has triple gens out himself, as does Piano. And it should be pretty even all around, to be honest, at this point. In terms of their economy. Let's have a look. 105 for Piano, 71 for Guru. Guru's just spent 25, which would make him pretty even actually on this war gear. Though there has been mines. No burners yet, and just big shooters, yeah, Guru really doesn't have that many upgrades either. I guess he's just behind because he took ages getting his gens up for whatever reason. I don't really know why it took him so long to get the gens up. I guess he just bled loads, losing that Banshee early on, and that's the power of bleeding, because Eldar really don't cost that much more than the Orc boys by default. Guardians are basically the same. Banshees are 350, so a little bit more, but it's not even the cost of one gen. Pretty scary situation for the looters here. They could get naded by these Guardians. I would be getting them out of there. Yeah. Not very helpful when they're suppressed anyway. These Guardians keep trying to capture this side of the map, but getting caught out by the Sluggers, which is unfortunate. Sluggers already well on their way to level 2. Banshees, I don't like these Banshee players, man. Guru keeps going back to the power farm to try and bash the Banshees, but he just keeps bleeding models. And honestly, the bleed he's taking on the Banshees is probably... Well, it's worth way more than whatever he's inflicting on the node. Destroyed the node again. And as good as these setup teams have been when they're defending their own territory very close to the base, not so useful when they're out in the middle of the open and these teleport heroes can just move in and tie them up in melee. Wow, look at the damage. I was going to say improved targeters. Damn. You see, it's a lot of newer players will get this upgrade on its own. 50% damage increase and increase the weapon range by 7. 50% damage increase is huge, but the problem is that the default damage of the Water Spider X-Arc is awful. It's like 20 DPS or something. It's really bad. It's the lowest default DPS of any hero in the game. However, if you get the heavy gauge Death Spinner, then your DPS goes to 34, which is only 1 DPS less than the Tech Marine. Suddenly, getting a 50% damage increase is so much more valuable. So that's the trick. Don't go straight for the targeters. Get them only after you've got the upgrade. But yeah, you could see the effect on the Slugger boys there. Really, really hurt them bad. Another attempted flank from the Banshees. Yeah, Piano's privy to it. He couldn't rotate in time because of the threat of the Shuriken, so he uses aiming, what's that, on the Banshees so that they can't close in and get any retreat kills. So the thing with this matchup, both the races are relatively high damage, but Orcs definitely have the damage advantage, especially if they start blowing up and using War. So how does Eldar win then? Because they're both fairly fragile. Well, Eldar wins because they got better retreat wiping potential with things like the Banshees, with grenades, and then they've got mobility with like Webway Gates and Fleet of Foot, so that's how it plays out. But in this instance, looks like Piano's going to be able to brute force his way through using the Mech Boy. Ooh, maybe not. Stunned the Mech Boy using the heavy gauge Death Spinner. Wow, and that bought a lot of time. Man, look at the damage from that targeters. Jeez. Can the Water Spider X-Arc teleport in a melee? He probably could have, to be honest. I don't know why he didn't. Instead, he's gone into cover. He's got Crack Shot on him as well, which is a global that the Water Spider X-Arc has. Really cheap global. Boosts his damage and range again. So yeah, the damage output, especially in tier 1 against light infantry from this Water Spider X-Arc right now, very, very scary stuff. But enough about tier 1. Whilst I've been blethering on, both of our players have actually managed to get to tier 2. We're seeing walkers coming out for each of them. Now the Wraithlord is already on the field. the Death Dread is on the way. Kind of wondering why that Death Dread is so late. I didn't actually notice when Piano teched up. I would have thought he'd have got there sooner. Really like this play. So the Guardian's using the garrison to hide from the sluggers. That is kind of risky because the burners were coming. But Piano actually throws the mines out. And if the mines all cluster up at the exit, as soon as the Guardians try and exit, they're going to blow themselves up and get wiped. So they have to get straight out of the garrison and run away. And then the sluggers got a few kills. And then the sluggers use the garrison themselves to protect themselves against the Banshees. Beautiful plays there. Now I like this. Cult of Speed global used from the Mech Boy to buff up the Death Dread speed. The Death Dread has come out of nowhere, already got its burners and bits, and it is burning down that Eldar gen farm. And unfortunately, Guru's positioned awfully to try and stop this. Yeah, we see the Bright Lance coming up on the Guardian's weapons team, but there's mines everywhere. The Mech Boy's already shooting it, and there's these Shooter Boys as well, which zone out this area. So the Bright Lance is never going to get in range. It's going to get obliterated by the shooters. Now the Wraithlord obviously can come over. Nearly taking out the Mech Boy there with that swing, but ooh, mines have actually snared the Wraithlord. This is going to delay it even further. Oh man, plenty of time for Piano to actually wipe out the entire gen farm. Bright Lance finally gets one shot off, but then it has to retreat from the damage of the Shooter Boys. But Piano's got what he wanted, so he uses his Rampage and his Death Dread, gets them out of there, and retreats his Shooter Boys with absolutely no model losses. I think Guru at this point is feeling like the mines are becoming quite a little pest. A bit of a thorn in his side, and so he's opting for the Rangers. Interesting, to be honest, that he didn't get the Rangers in Tier 1. Evidently, you don't need to counter mines. Well, I guess to counter them properly you do, but you know, you don't lose the game not having a mine counter, right? I guess maybe he wanted that fast vehicle. He wanted to ensure that he didn't get out-teched. And unfortunately, it didn't really work out, because even though he got the Wraithlord out first, he sent it down here, and then the Death Dread came out of nowhere and gem-bashed him. So economically right now, I'd say that Piano's in a pretty good situation. He's got a huge surplus of power. Guru definitely doesn't have that privilege. Ooh, flank here from the Death Dread is going to wipe out the Guardians. Beautiful. And a very awkward engagement here from the Banshees. The Banshees do have their Exarch. Oh, they did have their Exarch. Oh my god, they're all dead. Wow. Taking a fight with the Slugger Boys. Now, 1v1, generally, the Banshees are going to win that fight. But the problem is, it looks like they had war buffs, and there was double fully upgraded shooters nearby helping out the Sluggers. And unfortunately, the Banshees didn't really have much support at all. The Death Dread then coming in and cleaning up from behind just seals the deal, really. Now Guru is in a really tough spot. But the good thing is he is Eldar, and he's got a massive VP lead. I mean, Guru still has 487 VPs, Piano only has 260. I think once again we've seen the heavy gauge Death Spinner used to stun the Mech Boy, which Piano wasn't anticipating. I actually didn't even realise the Warp Spider was there, because he's lost his indicator, because he's gone down. Though he would still have the indicator in game, I believe. Anyway, uses that spinner, stuns the Mech Boy, and then the Ranger shots and the Wraithlord Shuriken Cannon, taking out the Mech Boy. Piano is not very happy about that war gear. So Slugger's doing what they can, capping up the side of the map. Ranger's going to clear these minefields. That's fair enough. I mean, god, what can Guru even go for right now? He could obviously double down on the Wraithlord. I don't really think that would be a good idea. Because of, especially against the Mech Boy, you know, the Mech Boy could bring out the Beamy Death Gun on himself. There's already a Beamy Death Gun on the Looters. And then if Tank Busters came out as well, like, the Wraithlord aren't going to survive. And that's the thing, like, if there's enough AV on the field to kill one Wraithlord handily, then there's probably going to be enough AV to eventually kill two Wraithlords. The only time that isn't the case is if it's like the AV comes from Walkers, right? Because then you tie up their AV Walker with one Wraithlord, and then the other Wraithlord basically is unhindered. But no, the AV is not coming out of things like the Death Dread here. The threat is definitely the Beamy Looters and potentially a Beamy on the Mech Boy. But it was very nice that Guru actually managed to get the pick on him, I suppose. Now Guru got a really good engagement there, forcing off Piano. He wasn't really expecting the Warp Spiders. And now he's following up with a very good Gem Bash. You can see the power of the Shuriken Cannon Wraithlord. A very effective Gen Bashing unit indeed. Piano's playing it pretty risky here, given that he's already underneath 200 VP. He's deciding to fast tech into tier 3. I wonder what he wants. Probably a looted tank, I imagine. And he can charge the Death Dread in, tie up the BB, and then the looted tank's just going to go crazy. Tank's always attractive when you know that the Wraith Lord has already got that Shuriken Cannon, so he can't upgrade to the Bright Lance. Oh wow, it was the upgraded Guardians earlier that went down, the ones with the battle equipment as well. That was kind of a huge loss. Once again, we see the Warp Spider Exarch with his crack shot on him. Shooters wisely moving into melee with him. Like I say though, the Warp Spider Exarch is no slouch in melee. He is a hybrid hero. Shooter's obviously not amazing in melee. So yeah, Warp Spider Exarch gets the better engagement there, and we do see a looted tank. If any of you guys seen the mirror that I cast between Piano and Mathis, you see that he is a big fan of looted tanks, and honestly, he played that really well. He made those looted tanks really show their value in the mirror. Made Commandos his little bitch. Normally, to be honest, I would say the meta says that Commando spam dominates the Orc mirror in tier 3, but yeah, we're not going to get Commandos, at least not yet. We're getting that looted tank, and it will be interesting to see what GuruSkippy can do to defend against this. Obviously not being in tier 3, it's kind of in an awkward position here. He'd love a Fire Prism, keep it at the back, chipping away at the Death Dread, chipping away at the looted tank. That would be beautiful right now. Unfortunately, he doesn't have that. Looks like the Rangers will be okay here. Death Dread trying to flank around the outside of the arc of the Bright Lance. Does get hit by the Haywire. Now turning around, which I find very questionable. I think he should have committed to the fight there and tied up the Bright Lance, because now his looted tank is taking extreme damage from the Bright Lance. Really just walks straight into it for a long time. Now, Shooter Boys do eventually manage to force off the Warp Spiders, which is good because the cooldown on the Haywire might have been coming off and another one could have been coming out any second. Not seeing any crack shot buffs on the Bright Lance. That could be a really powerful tool to help your Bright Lance deal with threats at long range. And oh no, all the AVs here. Beamy Looter, which I think the Warp Spider was going in to try and tie up, but Sluggers were there to counter-initiate, and this is the power of the tanks. You can't flee from a tank, they're too quick. It's like getting in a fight with someone with a gun and you got a knife. You can't flee, you gotta commit, because you're gonna get shot in the back and die. So unfortunately we see the end of the Wraith Lord there, and honestly, I don't know how this game goes on. You know, I'm casting this game because it was relatively long, but geez. Guru looks like he is in a horrendous position at the moment, but I guess, look, he's up 400 VP still, and he is playing Eldar, so there's always a possibility. You've got infiltrating Rangers, you've got very mobile teleporting Warp Spiders, and of course, you've got the options of Webway Gates. But looking at the compositions that are on the field right now, Guru really is going to struggle. I mean, he did manage to take out the Death Dread, which I actually think is a big win, because if I was Piano, I would just be using the Death Dread down here. Wait, not there, that's the original map. Over here, defending the natural VP. Then annoying things like Rangers can't just come and decap it, right? Get some Gretchens to repair it so you can keep the Sluggers with the looted tanking in the main fights. But he did get rid of that, so it's something. Oh my god, that Ranger just got absolutely gibbed. A little bit late on the Haywire there, Guru, jeez. It's not going to work. Okay, so he's actually opting for another Wraith Lord, wow. Alright. Brave man. Now, I always talk about this. The Wraith Lord with that Bright Lance will 1v1 tanks. It's too tanky. Ironically. English language is ridiculous as usual. But yeah, it'll 1v1 it, but the problem is, if it commits to a fight, it's going to struggle. It's going to struggle with escaping if it ever turns out bad. We see supplemental AV on each side. We've got the Beamy Looters who are set up in a nice position. Can they shoot the Wraith Lord from here? They can. Wow, what a great position for the Beamy Looters. Protected by the green cover. Getting a nice little shot on the Wraith Lord. Unfortunately, it looks like Wraith Lord is out of sight range, because he was still within weapon range there, but Beam is not able to shoot at it. Bright Lance is in the back. Obviously, that's going to protect the Wraith Lord. But the advantage here is to Piano, because he has the VP, so it's problematic for Guru, because he needs to move in into the range of the looter tank and potentially the beamy looters. So he moves up with the Guardians and threatens using a grenade on the beamies, which obviously would wipe them, so they shit their pants and they leg it, because they're on the Orc boys, you know, they're not knobs, these aren't flash kits, they're just greedy looters. They don't want a plasma grenade to the face, so they run. And the looted tank has to move out, because now they haven't got the anti-vehicle support, it's a beamy, and that Bright Lance Wraith Lord. So, really, Piano needs to get some more tier 3 units, doesn't he? What's the best option? I mean, you could definitely go for commandos. I actually think knobs would be pretty great right now. Wait, the mech boy went down again to the water spiders. Okay. Don't know how, I didn't see it. Well, I'm surprised the looter tank isn't committing to just forcing off the spiders while he's here. Literally 3 shots from that cannon will wipe the entire squad. The splash damage is so good. We're seeing double warp spiders and we're seeing knobs. Yeah, I actually like the knobs here. Because warp spiders do really good piercing damage. But the problem they have against knobs is knobs are heavy infantry. So they have pretty good resistance to piercing. And for heavy infantry, they have a lot of HP. So the warp spiders are pretty shit against them. Obviously the Wraith Lord will do okay against knobs. But he'll still lose a 1v1, most likely, unless he gets very lucky with special attacks. But yeah, you just charge the knobs forward, get them into the Bright Lance, force off the Bright Lance, and then you attack the Wraith Lord with the knobs. And while the Wraith Lord is busy trying to fight the knobs, which will take ages, that's going to be a really long battle, then you move in the looted tank and shoot the Wraith Lord. The Wraith Lord can't get out then, because he's got no support. So we'll see how it plays out. This is a bit of an awkward spot because the Bright Lance is already here shooting at the looters. So yeah, knobs need to move in, force off the Bright Lance, which they do. Crack shot on the warp spiders, let's see the damage they put out. Man, look at that. Rip those light infantry shooter boys to pieces. Now, warp spiders are very fragile themselves. Generally they want to be engaging from cover, which they're not doing in this instance. And they are going to eventually get forced off by the shooter boys, but not before killing 4 boys. Kind of surprised the warp spiders. Oh, I was going to say, I thought they were going for the power node, and surprised they don't take the VP, but no, they're going for the VP. And it looks like going to be another Guardian weapons team. So yeah, these will be a Shuriken weapons team, and he'll keep that behind the Bright Lance to protect the Bright Lance from the knobs. But the problem is that knobs have Frenzy, which to be fair does cost 75 red if I recall correctly, but it gives them 75% damage resistance and immunity to suppression for a short duration. So if they get suppressed by that Shuriken, they can break it using Frenzy, force off the Shuriken, force off the Bright Lance, and then attack the Wraith Lord. So yeah, the Shuriken's something, and you know, if Piano keeps finding himself in that position, he will eventually run out of red. Of course, Frenzy has a cooldown as well, so you know, the Shuriken isn't useless, but it's not a perfect counter against the knobs. It's not like you're trying to counter the Slugger Boys here. So we'll see how it goes. It looks like that engagement is coming up. What Spider X doing his best to decap that VP. Wow, look at the situation right now. We've got a 1-0 cap for Piano. He does have shooter boys, very dilapidated shooter boys, trying to cap the VP. Knobs have got suppressed. They didn't see the Shuriken. I don't know why he's not using Frenzy. I guess he doesn't want to commit to this engagement. But he actually forced off the Bright Lance anyway. That's probably why he doesn't want to use Frenzy, because he knows he can just move the looter tank up, get rid of the Shuriken with the looter tank now. And obviously that saves him the red. That upgraded Crackshot Warp Spider XR coming into play once again, stunning the mech boy so he can't teleport away, putting on some serious damage, making him retreat. Warp Spider does try and go for the cap, but it's not going to happen. There's too much here. Slugger boys are moving in. The poor Knob and his boy are going down the side here, probably trying to attempt a decap over here, but he's going to meet double Warp Spiders, which is a terrible situation for them. But look at this. Look at how little damage the Knob's taken approaching those Warp Spiders there. Yeah, they can shrug off those Death Spinner guns a lot easier than the Orc boys can. Where's that tank? See, the tank has rotated down here again, so now he's left this contested VP vulnerable to a Wraith Lord push. Bit of a mistake there from Piano. I don't really know why he did that. If I was going to rotate the tank here, I would take advantage of it and push up and actually decap this VP. But yeah, it's not ideal because Piano, man, he's got a lot of VPs to make up here, 360. It's not like he wants to be sitting there on the 2 cap for that long right next to the base of Guru. Now that's something Guru could definitely do if he pushes his Warp Spiders up to Piano's natural, then gets the Wraith Lord there. He doesn't have to hold out for long on a 2 to 1 cap, and he's going to win. 42 VPs left for Piano at this point. Right, so we're seeing Crackshot coming down on the Bright Lance in the back. Look at the range that gives. But the Knobs are moving in, trying to tie up that Bright Lance weapon team. They do eventually. The Wraith Lord is trying to do something with the situation, moving in the looted tank, but unfortunately it's a bit too quick and it backpedals off. Aiming, what's that? Goes down into the Shuriken, suppressing it so that the Knobs can get some distance. I think the Knobs are going to charge after the Wraith Lord now. They're going to clear out the infantry first. The Mech Boy doing a brilliant job moving in and intercepting the Shuriken to facilitate that Knob push. And this is where the Wraith Lord struggles. It's now going to have Knobs chasing it in melee, whilst the looted tank is shooting it from afar. Not a good fight for the poor Wraith Lord, and down it goes before it can even kill a single Knob. Mech Boy tries to get his cap, but, you know, Warp Spider being very, very annoying at this point does prevent him. Wow, Guru has got Piano down to 18 VPs right now. I mean, Guru's army is awful compared to Piano's, and there is now Flash Kits coming out. They're going to be able to hard counter the Warp Spiders. They're a free model squad. They're heavy infantry, just like the Knobs, and they do extremely high pacing DPS from extremely long range. The Warp Spiders will melt under the fire of the Flash Kits. Oh my god! Oh, I thought they just got wiped out right then. They didn't. But the Bright Lance looks like it's going to get wiped out by the Knobs. The Knobs are tearing it up right now. Killed 4 of the Warp Spiders, including the Exarch, and then finished off the Bright Lance. Looted tank has to be very careful. Might get hit by another Haywire here and get wiped. Might get hit by its own rocks. That's just lost 60 HP from that rocks. I don't know how much damage the Haywire grenade does. Oh my god, he just ran out of VPs. Wow. Was that the Warp Spider Exarch? It was. The Warp Spider Exarch was capping this victory point. There you go. Brilliant ratty play from a Warp Spider Exarch. That is exactly what the Warp Spider Exarch is good at doing. That's exactly why people hate fighting the goddamn Warp Spider Exarch. But there you go. Desperate Rocks attempt to try and save the day, but unfortunately, for Piano, it didn't work out. So that's going to be all from your boy Torpid today. Thank you for tuning in, folks. If you did enjoy the content, please leave a like, leave a comment to help us in our eternal battle against the algorithm. And I am out.